good evening and welcome to Nighttime Natters. It is the 8th of November and the time is 7 p.m. I had a lovely night off last night, so I decided to take myself off around town and pop into a few places, you know, inconspicuously, of course. I don't want to draw attention to oneself. Don't feel the need to be, you know, centre of attention everywhere where I go. I quite like going out and doing that, just sitting there and watching what's going on, and obviously hearing conversations, and it's quite funny what you hear. Silly conversations, like just two people talking about maybe their neighbours or whatever. Oh, she did this and she did that. Oh, but you know, so sort of stuff like that. Then I went and met up with a couple of friends at the original Wigan Pier, where originally I was going to be today at a fundraiser called That's What Friends Are For, but unfortunately I left the actual group that it was it's a fundraising sort of setup, and I left the group personally. My reasons for leaving are that I personally have an issue with somebody. It's totally personal against someone. It's nothing to do with the group or anything like that. It's just personal in who else is involved in the group. Do you know what I mean? So nothing that I don't think the group's worthy of anything, because, you know, like my song today was to support the group and whatever, but it's totally personal against somebody involved in the group. And I decided to withdraw and not be any part of it. So that was that. So the event was today, and I hope they I hope they raised lots of cash, because you know, some people in Tenerife here, they maybe going to need it more than others, you know. So the people paying a £5 a month, and if anyone falls sick, then they will receive benefit payout, which I understand that one of the acts here is going to be having a benefit in January, and again I wish them well for that. So anyway, today I got up quite early today after my night out. I watched the Graham Norton show last night, and Catherine Tate's so funny. I don't know if you know this, but when I was started first year of secondary school, she was in the lower six of my school, and it was an all-boys school. But what happened was she'd been chucked out of all the labouring schools at the age of 15 or 16. No one would take her in, so we allowed girls into the sixth form, and she was one. And because we had a great drama department at our school, Cilla College, and I wanted to go back and look at the pictures of, because every year they took a picture of the whole of the school. So I would have been sat, the first years would be in the front few lines, stood behind the teachers, and the back lines would be the fifth and sixth formers. Now, when you was in the sixth form, you wore a black blazer, and our ones were burgundy for anyone that was in the fifth or below. And then when they got to a little bit further on, the sixth form college went elsewhere. But I left school at 16, knowing that none of the qualifications that I was going to gain was going to help me with what I wanted to do in life, because I always knew I was going to be singing or acting the fool. But you know, there's a time and a place for everything, and I think that as I've reached my 40s or late 30s, I sort of cocked myself on a little bit. You know, I'm quite lucky. I was in quite a privileged position when I was 20 that you know, enabled me to have the lifestyle that I had today. So my nan used to say to me, always take care of the roof over your head. And I always have done. You know, that's the first and foremost what I've always done, because if you haven't got nowhere to live, you know, up the creek without a paddle. So another thing she always used to say to me was, a bird that fetches carries. Now, a lot of people wondered what that means. You know, I don't know if it's a London saying or a saying that's known across the country, but a bird that fetches carries. So, you know, like someone that gives you information or likes to tell you stuff that someone else has said or someone else has done or anything like that. And just recently, I have been involved in a little bit of a disagreement with a couple of people, and obviously some people have been feeding me information, and I just said, listen now, I don't really want to know, but one thing is for sure, I'm not foolish enough to think that anything that I say or anything that I do gets fed back. So, you know, it's a waste of time. I really don't care. I'm quite upfront and honest about what I've said about people. And the thing is, still people want to go on about it and say things like, why can't they, are they the only one to see that, you know, that somebody isn't as nice as what they make out that they are? Well, the thing is, when you do fall out with somebody, you don't see the good side of it. And also, if you've got a lot to hide yourself, you're going to keep going on and on and on and on, aren't you, really? Now, it's okay also for certain people to give people titles, but when one's given back, they don't like it. Well, you know, you reap what you sow in life. That's another saying that my nan used to say. You reap what you sow, a bird that fetches carrots, and take care of the roof over your head. And also, take care of your own affairs before you stick your nose into somebody else's. Because you know what? Sometimes a simple question leads to so much more than just the answer that you're looking for. So I decided ages ago, I mean, I have to tell you, if this was 10 years ago or 12 years ago, I would have been more ruthless than I am today. I wouldn't think twice about my actions back then. But back then, and again, I was a drug addict. And again, when you do take drugs or do things like that, you don't think straight. You know what I mean? The things that I've done I'd never think of doing normal. Now, I think about it before I act about it, you know. So, up there for thinking, down there for dancing. And that's another saying that my nan used to say as well. So is there any more of these sayings that I should know about, you know? Who knows? Anyway, tonight I'm at the Pheasant Plucker in St Henio, just downstairs, just down the road, down there, and it's a lovely little gig there. Also, they're filming on the island, you know, the second series of OAPs Behaving Badly, and there's really mixed feelings about this out here in Tenerife. I think the thing is, the title, OAPs Behaving Badly, isn't the title that the company, you know, the crew, I know one of the crew member, they're not happy with the title, but they can't, it's too late to change it because obviously they've had one series of it. But basically, it's a show showing old age pensioners really having fun. It's not like a trouble show or like Yobs Abroad or anything like that. But what happens is, and I agree to some extent that you sign away, if they come into your bar or your venue or you're a part of it, you sign away all the filming rights and everything like that, so they could edit it to a way to make it watchable, if you know what I mean. I don't think people want to watch a programme of people playing cards or whatever. They want to see, you know, I know Marie and Gordon from the last series who've come to see my show many times. I met Marie when I first moved here because she was on stage singing in the Theatre Cabaret Bar a song, again, my nan loved. Actually, funny, when her sons came to Tenerife many years ago, and the song was Where the Boys Are by Connie Francis. And Marie sang that in the Theatre Cabaret Bar, and I went up to her and I said, you know, my nan loved that song, and it was a favourite song, and she sang it about where, played it all the time because her three boys were out here on Tenerife on holiday. Now, if there was a programme made then, oh, blimey, then, you know. But horses for courses, which is another saying, and at the end of the day, you've got to do what you think's right to do, you know, and if you don't want to be around it, step back from it or just don't allow it. And that's what I've done, and still people try to carry on with it, but I'm not interested. Tomorrow is Armistice Day and it's Remembrance Sunday, and tomorrow there is an event at the Top Square San Blas, and it's the Best of British. Now, the last time this took place. I think I did something, I can't remember, they'll have to remind me, but again I was asked would I do something, and I said yes, I'd like to do something completely different. And they're sort of like doing war songs and everything like that, and the best of British, so I've decided to debut a new show, but I say new, I've put it into my Mandicap shows before, you know, Danny LaRue. So I will be doing a 20 minutes or 25 minute set as Danny LaRue and staying in character as Dan, you know, 25 years in the business, dear man and boy. So I will be doing that tomorrow at the Top Square San Blas. So if you fancy something a little bit different for people here in Tenerife, come along. It's the best of British. And talking about that, I've read in the paper, I read on the internet, that the police caught 4 or 5 men that were going to try and kill the Queen. We can't let this happen. This has got to stop, all this nonsense. I don't get it. You know, I was talking to my auntie when we were in Romania about the Queen, saying that, you know, we hope that she's well enough and carries on until for years and years to come, and next year in September she will have equalled and hopefully pass the record of being the longest reigning monarch of all time. You know what I mean? She's been brilliant for the United Kingdom, absolutely brilliant. Anyway, that's me and my rant today. It's a long night time, Natters, tonight. But there you go. When you're talking, it just comes out, and before you know it, it's 11 minutes and 24 seconds. There you go. Did you just check the time there? I'm very clever, aren't I? I'm used to this sort of media stuff. Anyway, have a great night tonight. Tomorrow is Sunday. I'll hopefully have some video footage of the show that I'm doing on the Top Square San Blas as Danny LaRue. So until then, good night, God bless, sleep well.